Hello, everyone. How are you doing? If you're new to Life's Dilemma, welcome. So, today's topic I've entitled Why Do My Partner Leave After I've Helped Them? I've come to realize that both men and women fall victim of this topic. You so often find a well developed male or female, and depending on their conditioning in childhood, they tend to be more affectionate, more helpful. They have this motherly, fatherly attribute to their behavior, and unfortunately, they attract very needy people in terms of being in a relationship. And when this happens, they pick up projects in relationships, and projects where they have to develop these people in the relationship they are in with. They have to help them, they have to develop them, and they go into a relationship with people who are deflated, and accomplished, with low self-esteem, depending on the social economic background that they come in. They haven't been able to develop themselves as their peers, so obviously they are not in the level that they are supposed to be, and you become the source for them to develop themselves. And what tends to happen is that in developing these people in the relationship, you tend to lose some part of you, and which you would never get back, and some and the bits that you lose could be the time you waste on that person, the money you use, your emotion. You never get this back, and sometimes it's so unfortunate that some people lose a quarter of themselves to this relationship, some half of themselves, and even some three quarters of themselves, and then they are just left with a quarter. And there tend to be most so often a reverse of situations. You become them and they become you, and with that happening, they look at you and they see someone who is their mother or their father. They look at you and they see that you are the one who helped them, and it's so unfortunate that you remind them of their low time, the time that they were deflated. So like me, for instance, when I see roses and sunflower, it reminds me of my auntie who introduced me to it. I also hear some music and it reminds me exactly what I was doing at that time that I heard that music the first time. So in the same way, you represent the negative side of their lives that they don't want to remember and they want to move on from. So what happens? They move on into a different relationship, and it's not that the man or the woman they've moved on is any better than you. It's just that they want to find a new person that reminds them of growth. It reminds them of prosperity. It reminds them of achievements. It reminds them of all the positive attributes that they want to remember. And whilst you represent the negative attributes, which is unfortunate because you've made them. And unfortunately, this is how these turns out to be. And you realize that, the person who is at the giving side lose out. They feel used, they feel depleted, they feel left out, they feel like this is not what they settled for. And the bitterness is real. And but these people have moved on. They moved on to a different season in their lives. And you should ask yourself, why do you not find someone who is already built, that you don't need to build them, so then you just enjoy the relationship? But you find yourself into these type of situationship where you develop the person, and they don't tend to stay just because you've developed them. There was a case of that I heard of, a guy who developed the girlfriend to go to university, whilst he hasn't been to university himself. And after the girl graduated, they found that the guy was not to her levels, looking at the peers that she had graduated with. And she felt that the guy was not to the level of thinking, the mentality and everything. So she moved on to marry someone else, and this guy was very bitter. And unfortunately, these are some of the situations that people find themselves in. And obviously the guy will be very bitter about this girl moving on to another relationship, and thinking that he's not good enough for them. And so they become bitter. And so you cannot guarantee these type of helps, that situationships that you put yourself into. And I'm not saying you shouldn't help people, but then the percent is like about 1% of relationships do turn out to appreciate what has been done for them, so what they return the favor. But is it worth gambling your life over this type of risk of helping someone and the favor not being returned? The emotions and the heartache that you go through, is it worth a gamble? I may ask. And so I think it's better to go into a relationship when you have the same level with the person, so that you enjoy the relationship more, and you don't run the risk of being left out when the person feel they are made and they've seen the light. And and sometimes there is a saying which says that people will show you their real characters when they are made, because when they are not in the right in the right situations in life, or they are not they are not made, they are very humble, they show you the good side of them. But then wait till they are able to develop themselves and they are what they want to be, then they'll show you their real characters. And and I think also you only put up with what you can tolerate. So you would have to ask yourself, why do you put up with this type of relationship? And you have to look inside yourself to see what type of conditioning you have that encourages this type of dependency to help people. And if you're not careful, you'll be repeating this vicious cycle on and on. So I think it's good for people to look into themselves to see what is it in their conditioning that attracts these needy people to you, and for you to help them. And then most of the time you see that these people get broken because these type of helps do not they don't return the help, so they become very bitter. So I think it's also not worrying about blaming the other person for not being grateful, but I think you should also look into yourself. What is it that you lack that is encouraging this situations where you attract people for you to help? And also I've also realized that with men, they want to, especially with the men, they have egos. Obviously women have egos as well, but men have more. And also a man would want you to will want to impress a woman. They want to be admired, they want to be proud of you, to be proud of them, and they want you to be them to be inspired by them. So if it's like you are the one who is handing out like handouts to them all the time, it depletes them. They don't feel, they don't feel proud of themselves as well. So I think these are some of the red signs where if you give in, the guy is happy to collect things from you, then you know that this is just a situationship. It's not going to go anywhere, because most of the time men want to feel like feel inspired, like you get inspired by them instead of the other way around. So watch out for that. And also I feel that relationship should not be a project. It's just going in, it's that there is no excuse for that. It shouldn't be a project. Relationships are two level headed people who are going into a relationship to develop each other, to enjoy each other, not a situationship where someone wants to go there to develop themselves and then move to a next relationship. This is not what is supposed to be built on. So I think if you also attract these type of people, you also have to look within you to see what your conditioning is that allow you to be a mother or a father in a relationship. And I think look inside yourself inwardly to see what your problem is, because you could only you could only tolerate what you can put up with. So obviously your conditioning is allowing you to put up with people like that. So I think you have to look into yourself to see what is it with you that attracts and encourage these type of people to you, so that it doesn't become like a vicious cycle. Stay blessed and bye.